Coming to you, pre-recorded from the internet, it's Charming Extroverts. This is our podcast. We have a podcast. We talk about shit and we talk about stuff, but we mostly just talk a lot in our podcast. On today's episode, like totally unreality, real TV, bruh. Reality TV.
Absolutely.
So do you watch reality TV, Arja?
Like, when I think reality TV, I'm going to be honest, I think immediately of Survivor, like Fear Factor. I think that dates me to our generation pretty bad.
No, because that's definitely a type of reality TV. Like, there's certainly different categories, right? Because you could say that shows like Top Chef or Chopped are also, like, cooking competition shows are kind of a form of reality TV, right?
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
real life people.
Yeah.
And there are still shows, like Survivor's still thriving, and there are still shows that cater to that kind of thing. Fear Factor, not so much, at least as I know.
Yeah.
But there's shows like Surviving with Bear Grylls, where they just basically drop you in the middle of a mountain range, and they're like, good luck, bye.
That's the guy who's always drinking his own pee, right?
I think so. I don't know. I just, personally, am not interested in those kinds of shows.
The pee drinking kind?
Also, yes, but also just like the Survivor type shows, like that's not the reality TV that I gravitate towards. I mean, I really like reality TV that showcases people behaving badly, especially people of a privileged position, let's say.
Oh.
And I know that kind of thing happens on Survivor and those sorts of shows. Like, there's a lot of conniving, backstabbing behavior and stuff, but it's just, I don't know. I don't like watching people eat bugs and stuff like that. Like, that just isn't, not for me. I would rather watch people get, like, okay, so the best example is something like The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which is a bunch of rich ladies just getting drunk at parties and picking fights with each other over sometimes important things, but also sometimes really stupid shit.
Okay.
And you get, like, invested in these people's lives, which is so stupid because you will never have that. But I think that's also part of the appeal as well. So that's the kind of reality TV show I like. But I would also say things like, you know, House Hunters.
Yeah.
And, like, home and garden shows. And then things like Hoarders and Intervention, which is like, can be pretty macabre sometimes.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think there's a lot of genres we could go through. Each of them giving you a weird, different statistics thrill, I imagine. But I have a first
possibly.
question.
Some don't do it for me.
Okay, fair. I have a first question leading in, and that's it's the wrestling question. Does it matter to you, or do you care about the fact that most reality TV is staged to a certain extent?
So, okay, personally, I think that staged is not necessarily the right word. I like to use the word contrived because it's not so much that it's like scripted or you're on a soundstage and it's filmed that way. Like these people, so using the example of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, basically these people live their lives and then schedule events and outings and trips with each other and through the show so the show can film it. And then that's how the show gets their drama. But the show will place them in situations that play to whatever storylines or trajectories they have contrived for these cast members.
Absolutely.
So it's not so much like, you know, if they know that two of the women are not getting along, they'll like deliberately put them in a situation where they have to talk it out. But also they've already, like, it's in the middle of a party, so there's been alcohol and that kind of, you know, makes things a little bit spicier. So it is a little bit there definitely is a fakeness to it, and that's why kind of like you know at the back of your mind that these people have been put in these situations to generate entertainment. Like, it's not just like a documentary where we're following someone around with a camera. And, you know, maybe they have some days that aren't exciting and maybe they have times that are exciting. Like, there are deliberate choices that are made in terms of how the show is produced in order to make it entertaining. Obviously, the producers and the network, like, everybody wants to make money, right? Like, it'd be pretty stupid if they didn't. But I think that in some cases, they do a really good job at blurring that line, or at least kind of shading it a little bit, so that you don't, it's not like where you watch wrestling and you know that, like, that body slam is planned, or that if a certain wrestler taps the other guy's leg a certain way, they're going to go into a certain fall.
Whoa. You're letting out too many secrets here. Let's
I know, right? They're going to have me killed.
I think but the thing is, I get it, because wrestling being quote unquote fake does not detract from the fact that it is fantastic. Like, you don't watch wrestling because you're there to see people really fight in that sense. It's because it's entertaining as all hell.
Yeah, and it's the storylines, right? Like, people watch wrestling because, at least when you say it, I think of, like, back when it was still called the WWF, before it became the WWE. But it was like, you know, you kind of, you were attracted to certain characters. Maybe they were the evil characters. Maybe they were the good characters. Mm-hmm. And that reality TV has that sort of appeal to it. Like, there are housewives that I'm like, yes, would root for that housewife 100%. Love them. And then there are others where I'm like, oh, they tried to sue that one, and, like, I don't like her. I don't think that's right. So you can, even though, like, possibly those women were put in that situation, and, like, maybe there wasn't even really a lawsuit. Maybe there was. Who knows? Nobody knows. It's, like, fake or real. No one knows.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like it shares, like, a similar appeal in that people get attracted to the storylines, and they care less about the sincerity of the delivery, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, when I was younger, I dated a girl who was watching Jersey Shore. Why is that hard to say? Jersey Shore.
Oh, yes, Jersey Shore.
I can hear you snapping. It's great.
Gabs are here.
And
it's t-shirt time. Sorry.
So I didn't really.
I too watched Jersey Shore.
Okay, that's chill, man. That's cool. I never watched it myself, but I would always get the secondhand updates, because that's what I'll do. I've been doing this since I was a young boy, where, like, you know, if there was something I didn't want to watch or didn't want to be seen watching because I looked down on it, like Jersey Shore, I would still be curious enough to get someone to, like, explain to me what's going on. And I remember hearing about what I can only now describe as abusive relationships propagated in the show.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then just hearing my then girlfriend be like, oh yeah, it's awful. It's awful what they do. They should really break up, but I'm going to see where this goes. And I do get that, you know?
Yeah. Well, again, I bring up the point. It's fun to watch people behaving badly. Also, in some situations, you do sort of feel, like, righteous if the person that you're rooting against or not a fan of gets, like, their comeuppance and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a sports team, you know?
Oh, yeah. Really, really fucked up sports team.
Absolutely. And I think, like, I don't know. There's the part of me that wonders if, like, people got around in circles and being like, all right, this week are they gonna break up, or, like, oh, is this week, you know, is she gonna find out that one of them's been cheating, or like I get it. It seems callous, but, like, I think a part of my understanding of whether it's staged, my words, or not, you know, it gives you a little bit of a carte blanche to kind of feel what you want to feel, right?
Yeah. Like, you mean me as the viewer, or like the person experiencing whatever is happening in that
Well, I meant you
moment
as
of reality
well.
TV?
I meant you as a viewer. They have cameras in their face. I don't think reality TV is particularly real to them, but to us,
No.
we get that nice little. Oh wow! It's like I'm in the room. How delightful.
But people are never authentically themselves, even if there's a camera around. Like, I refuse to believe that anybody is like, I'm 100% genuine when I'm on camera. I'm like, no, you can't be. It's just not possible.
Are you saying that
There's a lens in between my perceiving of you. So.
I agree. I mean,
am I saying what?
I mean, we're not like this in real life. We're quite reserved and calm. We don't yell or have microphones, I think. None of that's true.
I'm an actor, so.
Wow, just dropping that out.
Actually, no. If I had to make a business card segue, it would have to be theater artist, which sounds so pretentious. Anyway,
it's in our the things we do to sound more pretentious. It's almost like a right of honor. Like, as much as we're like, oh, that's bad, it's like, no, you got to be a little pretentious.
The problem is that it sounds pretentious, but it is the most accurate way to describe all of the things that I do as a person in theater, which also sounds really bad to say, but I just mean other actors got it. Like, when you have your own theater company, you're also like a co-producer, and you're also maybe a co-creator or
oh, don't feel
as
bad.
well as a performer. Right. So
this is a safe space.
Theater artist is easier than listing all those things.
This is a safe space.
Sorry?
This is a safe space. You can
This
bullshit
is a safe space.
whatever job occupation you want. I can't speak. Okay, but here's because you just said that and it made me think. Okay, so before we get further into specific reality TV, for each one we talk about, each type, you have to tell me whether or not you'd go on it.
Okay.
Unless it's just a global yes, because for me it's a global yes. If anyone.
No, not at all.
Okay, good. Because just for
Not
me,
at all.
to cover me for the rest of the episode, if someone came up to me with a camera and said, "Sir, we're filming you," I'm there, man. Like, I'll whatever you want, man. I'll fake it.
Yeah, really, eh?
Yeah, I just.
You're like, do it, home.
Well, I mean, like, within reason. If they're like, we need you to strip down, and like
I
just
need you to get in this bathtub of spiders.
bathtub of spiders. Like, do I have to get? Because okay, here's the difference. I would feel less weird if the spiders came in after me. I wouldn't like getting into the bathtub of spiders because I feel like I would.
No, you have to get into the bathtub of spiders already.
No,
which is
'cause I'm gonna-
awkward because, like, wouldn't you kill some of those
yeah,
spiders?
that's exactly what I'm thinking. That's the only reason. I don't want to kill any spiders. Also, I don't want to
so
know.
Considerate of you.
It's true. I mean, like, that's really the most considerate I'm gonna be because, my God, when the spiders go in, I am going to get out of that tub so fucking fast. Like, I love spiders, but I don't need to know what spiders feel like all over my body.
No, ma'am.
No, thank you. No, thank you. But no, if anyone came up to me with an extension of like, "Sir, could you give your opinion to a group of strangers?" I'd be like, "Fuck yeah. What, I need to stand on a podium to do it? Even better. You're going to do some weird... What's that? You're going to ply me with alcohol? Yes, sir. Like, nothing can go wrong. I will have a grand time." Oh, God. All right. What's our first genre you want to break into?
Well, okay. I've already mentioned The Real Housewives.
Mm-hmm.
So The Real Housewives has, like, its own kind of, like, bajillion spin-offs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's the real Housewives of all the different cities. So there's like Atlanta, there's New York, there's Beverly Hills, like so many, Johannesburg, Vancouver. I think there's also a Manchester. There's a couple international ones.
My God.
Anyway, I've only watched. I'm working my for all of our listeners who are just curious or who also watch these shows, I am about to start season 4 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I have watched all of Vanderpump Rules and all of Summer House. Oh, well, I didn't watch the last 2 reunion episodes of Vanderpump Rules, but I will. Anyway, those shows are all kind of quasi-loosely related to each other, and they all kind of fall under the same category of let's watch rich and or well-to-do and or their employees misbehave and get drunk and hook up with each other and be messy and have a summer. Basically, let's watch them have a summer, and that is done under various guises. So for example, in the Real Housewives, it mostly consists of the women getting together to do things, whether that is having a game night or one of the women has an annual white party where everybody wears white clothing.
Okay, thank you. That was momentarily coming.
I was I should clarify this, but that is actually a very, very common party theme, I think, especially on the West Coast. But yeah, or they'll invite the other women to their house for dinner, a dinner party, or a kid's birthday. Anyway, they're all friends, and I think they try and maintain actual friendships outside of the show. And the reason that I kind of know they do that is because after the end of each season, they have a reunion episode, and I don't know the exact schedule for filming, but let's say they film the actual season, which is about maybe 20, 22 episodes, from, I don't know, let's say March to June, July of a year. Mm-hmm. That season doesn't air until January of the following year or something like that. Or let's say they film it in the fall and then it airs in January. The reunion episodes are filmed after the season has aired. So these women have gone on and lived their lives while the show was airing on television post-filming. And their relationships have changed or not changed during that time. So the reunions are always very spicy because any conflicts that were left unresolved in the show, you either get a resolution or you find out that the problem got worse or you find out that it was a miscommunication and they made up, whatever have you. So that's kind of how you know that it's not necessarily 100% fake. There is some element of their real lives in it, kind of. But it is definitely contrived. There's one episode where they go shopping and they're oh, only $10,000 for this dress? And I'm just what the hell? So, but then Real Housewives has a spinoff called Vanderpump Rules, which is all about the employees at one of the housewives' restaurant. So her name is Lisa Vanderpump, and she owns, now 4 restaurants in West Hollywood. And so Vanderpump Rules is all about her employees and the staff of her restaurants and them all running around and trying to make a name for themselves as models or whatever have you in Los Angeles, and all having sex with each other and getting really drunk and getting into fistfights. Vanderpump Rules is very spicy, much spicier than Real Housewives. I watched Vanderpump Rules first, and I love Vanderpump Rules.
Okay, how old are these employees? I'm trying to I am realizing I am so far so much further disconnected to this than I thought I could ever be, because
so that's kind of the surprising thing. So Vanderpump Rules began in I think 2012 and is still filming today. And the people that are on the show are our contemporaries in age. Some are a little bit younger and some go as far as 40, but most of them are in their early 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think that it's when it started it had anything to do with the fact that the Mayan calendar ran out in 2012?
Right. I don't know. No, I feel worse things happened in 2012 than
it's just a bunch of
Rules.
So it's a bunch of shitty people being shitty to each other and fucking and fighting, and then but they can't does it beep out their swears?
I think it does. I don't remember because I watch it on Hey You. So
okay. And then
but I think so.
But you also like you can't watch them fuck and just have terrible times. So like this is like to me sometimes it feels
they get pretty close to showing it.
My God, like is the next step just a new genre of porn where it's just like all different, like it starts with emotional, like you get invested in the characters and then you want it's weird. Like I don't want to watch people that I've seen be shitty make out with each other.
Well, they don't just all be shitty to each other all the time, and they don't just all have sex with each other all the time, but that does happen a lot. There's a lot of like
So is it the whole thing or is it not the whole thing?
But no, because sometimes it's like them starting a business or them writing a book or them
writing a book,
releasing a fashion line. Yeah, one of them wrote a book, another one and her partner wrote a cocktail book. One of them has a podcast. So.
Okay,
but she just got fired.
I am losing these people. This is a lot. Okay, so let's put it to the test. So let's say I put together a group of contemporaries, which apparently for you goes up until people that are 40s. I don't know.
It's because he's like it's one guy, it's Jax, and it's anyway.
All right,
it's fine.
All right, so
people that watch Vanderpump Rules are like, yes, we know.
So I'm gonna get a bunch of people in their late 20s, early 30s. They're each gonna have what I imagine is one thing they're really good at and a cool nickname. And I'm gonna put them in a house, and I'm gonna name it Salty Saturdays.
They don't all live in the same house together.
They do here. They're gonna. Oh. So you show up at 11:59 on Friday, and you're stuck there until 11:59 on Saturday. So it's Salty Saturday.
Like Tila Tequila's A Shot at Love.
Oh my God, I don't even know what that is. But would you go into the Salty Saturday? Would that be a reality TV show?
No, I wouldn't, but I would go on Vanderpump Rules.
Okay.
But I that's because they don't live together.
Well, it's just for a day.
They do fun things, like they all go out to really fancy dinners and then wear cute outfits.
Okay, but what if you had to pay for it?
Pay for the dinner? Well, I'm pretty sure they pay for it.
I know, but
I mean, they get paid to be on the show, but...
Yeah, they make more money than we do, I imagine, though.
Well, yeah. I don't know. It would depend. Am I being paid to be on the show?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, then yeah.
All right. Okay. What if so some of these shows, I know there's like Big Brother, which is, as far as I understand, kind of they all live together and they vote each other, like Survivor.
Oh, I would not go on that.
Okay, fair. But let's say you had whatever, you don't get voted off or whatever, but you're told you have to make your name within the first 3 episodes. So you have to do something. You have to leave your mark. So both the viewers like you and that like everyone knows. You got to market yourself. What would be the thing you do? Like, would you shit somewhere public? Would that be the thing that like immediately everyone knows you and you're like, I'm the girl who took a shit in the living room, and everyone's like, fuck, don't fuck with her.
I don't know. I think I would just rely on me being like funny and charismatic to like win the strong people over because I'm smart. But
I don't know if that's enough.
The show you're describing is called RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm kidding.
I feel like that's not enough though.
I just can we circle back to Big Brother? Like, do you know about Big Brother, Arja?
Well, judging by your tone of the voice, apparently not. Like,
well, no, I'm just wondering because it's fucked up.
How fucked up are we talking? Lay it on.
Well, you're filmed all the time, for one.
Normal.
And you, like, I'm not entirely sure how the actual, like, game mechanic of it works, but basically, like, every week someone or something is evicted and somebody has the power of veto. I think they can stop that person being evicted. But there's like teams, and one team the team that wins whatever challenge will get to eat regular food, and then the other team will have to eat like, I think it's called slop or something. It's basically like disgusting oatmeal gross ass crap for like, 3 or 4 days or a week or something. They're kept up at all hours of the night because the lights are on and stuff. And they can't say because it's TV, they can't talk about certain things because of copyright issues.
Okay,
so I have a friend who has a family member that was on Big Brother and had like a little bit of PTSD afterwards. You know, she would say something like, "Oh, I'm going to post this on Instagram," and he'd be like, he would freak out. He'd be like, "You can't say Instagram. You can't just say that word because you're not supposed to say it on Big Brother."
Okay.
And it's a little, so Big Brother is like psychologically manipulative. So is Survivor, I find.
Well, I mean,
and I'm not a fan of that. I would rather watch rich people get drunk and throw drinks at each other and eat French fries.
Okay, but here's the thing, and I find this to be interesting that you think that's somehow less psychologically. And you know what I think it is? It's because we don't have to see the manipulation as much within something like Vanderpump Rules. I can't believe that a part of my brain is now dedicated to remembering that name. God fucking damn it. But I mean, like these people are still put into shitty situations with each other. You know, like
absolutely.
Like Betsy the bitch and Arnie the asshole are put into rooms constantly together because they know that they're either gonna fight or they're gonna fuck, or most likely one then the other. Who knows what the order is? And like that's kind of fucked up, you know? Like some of these people are probably what you and I would consider alcoholics, and they're being plied with alcohol. Now, okay, I want to be clear. I'm not saying this to shame the people who watch it. Like, you watch your fucked up stuff. I don't give a fuck. But I think it's no less manipulative than something like Big Brother, you know?
Not to stand up, like, for Vanderpump Rules, but on the topic of alcoholism, there's actually 2 people on Vanderpump Rules that are recovering alcoholics that don't drink at all.
Okay.
There's a few. So there is like an awareness of that and how that can be potentially dangerous. It's definitely a surface awareness. I mean, not for the 2 sober people. For them, it's probably very, very serious, because they need to stay sober in order to like keep themselves on the right track and all that stuff. I do think that producers take advantage, especially on, and to some extent on shows like Vanderpump Rules, but more so on shows like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. Mm-hmm. Those sorts of situations are really stilted towards people getting like angry and having brawls with each other because of also the nature of the show. Like you're competing for a fiance, which is so dumb.
Well, that's a good.
There's also actually.
That's a good transition. Let's start talking about those ones.
Well, okay, so this actually makes me think of another, like, okay, generally I would say relationship-based reality TV shows. So there's things like Next, I think, which I believe we were talking about it at the last tea party. Somebody was. Anyway, I've never seen it. Apparently it's really shitty. Like just really bad dating shows. Like there's one called Third Wheel and one called First Dates that are, or something like that.
Like
they're pretty bad.
My understanding is that
there's one where you can.
No, go ahead.
Oh, there's one where you can watch people actually go on a first date like real time.
Oh yeah, I believe that. But my understanding of any dating show is that 2 guys hopped out of their mind on cocaine are sitting in a boardroom, and one of them turns to the other and says, "Hey, do you have that list of things regular human beings find uncomfortable?" And they go, "Yeah, I do." And the first guy goes, "Okay, what's next on the list?" And it's just like a bunch of crossed off things, and whatever's next on the list, they make a TV show. Like, what about a first date with her parents there the whole time, or his parents there the whole time? I guarantee that's already one. I just don't know what it is, but like that's probably a dating show, right? Or
maybe there's one where they get married at first sight. And one of the couples is actually still together, very happily so. They match you up based on like you speak to all these professionals, like a psychologist, a sexologist, all kinds of people, and then based on that they find someone and they match you up with them and you marry them on the spot and you have like a trial 6-month marriage.
But you know the part they don't show you is the part that the psychologist walks out of the room with you into the back room with all the other professionals and goes, "I have no fucking idea. That person is real messed up."
That's so mean.
Like I would go on that show for like obviously, once again, I'd go on all of these, but I would go on and I would lie about my, like, you know, my pet peeves and my turn-ons. I'd be like, you know,
yeah, and then you would have a shitty marriage for 6 months.
That sounds like most marriages, frankly, but like, that was too negative. I feel bad about that. I don't mean that, but I mean, I would say shit like, I want peanut butter in every meal, and she has to say, I don't know, some kind of weird mantra 3 times a day. Otherwise it's off. Otherwise, no marriage. I'm not into it. I don't know, something unreasonable.
I don't think they'd take you.
Well,
if
yeah.
you were like that, I think they'd be like, next.
That's fair. It would have to be something. It would have to be something quasi. It's like that party game, you know, when people get drunk and they sit around and they say, like, would you date this person who is like perfect in every way, except for, I don't know, wears a dog suit whenever you're intimate with them, or like something like that. Like, you gotta know where the line is where people would be considering actually dating you, even though you're like the most repulsive person on the planet.
Yeah.
Like wants to play Scrabble every night, but is illiterate.
No, I wouldn't do it.
What? Even if they paid for everything for the rest of your life and just like, we're just like a very wonderful person?
Are they a good lover?
They're the best lover.
But they're like totally illiterate or just bad at Scrabble?
Let's say they can read, because that is a pretty big downside.
Yeah,
Let's say they're literate, but for some reason, when Scrabble comes out, they lose all sense of language, and you have to play a whole game, a complete game with them. I don't know what the timing is of how long each player has to make a turn, but you gotta watch them make horrible mistakes and misspell every day of the marriage, but otherwise it's perfect.
See, I probably just would like find that cute and endearing if it was like the right person. And I would just be like, literally, I would just be like, it's a good thing you're pretty.
You see, I get that, but like for me, I'd instantly marry that person, because that means you win at Scrabble every night for the rest of your life. Yeah.
You win all the time, and they're bad at spelling, so you're good at least at one thing.
Yeah.
You're better than at least
they
one.
have at least
better at them than one.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, they have one reason to be with you at least. That's a start, is what we call that. So bachelor or bachelorette dating shows. Would you be on one of those?
No, they're a little bit too, like, especially the Bachelor, Bachelorette, they're a little bit too cutthroat in certain ways. Like, I'm also the type of person where if you're like, yeah, I'm dating you and like another girl, I'm just gonna see like which one works out, I immediately am like, well, it's the other girl because I'm yeeting out of this. Like, no, it's either like, I don't like that. Like, I don't know, I'm very much like, I'm a jealous beach, and I would just be like jealous the whole time, and then I'd be like, I don't want to have to compete for someone, they should just want me.
Hey baby, so, I'm just playing the field. You know, there's a lot of different sports teams and fish in the water. You gotta understand. Like,
you would
be
surprised.
I don't think I would.
We'll do another episode about online dating and the.
We will. I am curious to see if I'm surprised, because my expectations are so fucking low. But okay, you wouldn't do a dating reality television.
No, only just because it's like, that's so much pressure, and pressure to look a certain way, pressure to be a certain way. Blah.
You see, that's the other half of why I said I'd go in and like make bullshit up, because then it's fun, because then you have nothing.
You would be the crazy one that gets like booted the first night.
You know what though? They'd probably edit it. I would probably last a few weeks, and I'd be real mad about it. You know, I'd be like trying.
You keep doing shit to get yourself kicked off.
And they would just edit around it. It would be like, tonight, Chad, hi, Brad, hey, and Arja, and I open my mouth to talk, and it just cuts away. It just cuts.
Oh God! I'd be like, fuck yourself, Kieran.
No, I would say, do you keep your used, like your cut fingernails in a jar? Could you do that for me from now on? Yeah.
Ew, gross.
I'm not gonna eat them. That's too weird. But I would like to know what they smell like after a week. And it has to be to be one jar for fingernails, another jar for toenails, because they don't smell the same.
Okay, you're done. We're done.
I'm done. What's the next? What's the next reality genre? What's the next?
Okay. So then there's things like home related, like house hunters or home renovation or like competing for a house, but then or like cooking.
Well, let's cooking is definitely a separate one. I do like that you genred them as home related. Like if there isn't a house, you're not watching. Let's lump together home improvement and new house, like house hunting, because they're pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure somewhere a purist is sending me an angry death threat for insinuating that house hunting and house improvement are pretty much the same thing.
I mean, they're on the same channel, so.
Well, might as well. Wrong. Perfect. So what do you feel about those?
I quite like them, but my thing with I watch a lot of HGTV because I live with a almost 65-year-old lady, and that's fine. I've watched a lot of HGTV my whole life because I've lived with a mom. So, I feel like I go through like cycles with the home improvement house hunting personalities that I see, and I'll be like, oh, I really like them for this period, and then I'll be like, oh God, I can't stand them anymore. Like right now, super off the Property Brothers, don't like them. Don't care for Chip and Joanna Gaines. Tired. They have so much shit. So many Magnolia shits. Just no, I'm done with them. A little bit tired of Scott McGilvery because I was like, you went away and then you came back and did a vacation show. Like, okay. You were the rent dude. The whole thing was that you were the rent guy. Anyway, and it was really... Anyway. Love Brian Baumler. Used to not like Brian Baumler because him and his wife would be really snippy with each other. But now they were renovating like a hotel in the Caribbean, and they're really nice to each other. I think it's because of the tropics. But yeah, so
you just like laid down a bunch of names that I have no context for, but
our listeners do.
I fucking hope so.
Oh yeah, people are gonna be really spiced about me saying that I don't like Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Damn.
He's too dopey sometimes, and I'm like, you're too pretty to be with him, Joanna. You could do better. Anyway, there are also like certain types of home reno shows that I prefer over others. Like I like House Hunters because it's always different people looking for homes. It's also people looking for homes sometimes in really cool faraway places. So you get to see like architecture and not even just like, oh, it's a Moroccan style house because we were in Morocco. It's also things like they'll walk through a home and be like, yes, it has a courtyard with a fountain in it because that's a common feature for houses in this area. Like it's interesting to see what is considered normal or what is considered a house essential in other parts of the world, because it is so much fun watching Americans go to Europe and be like, well, I was hoping for an American-sized fridge. And the real estate agent is like, this is Paris. Like, your apartment is a closet. Like, what? They're always so disappointed. There's just not enough space. And I'm like, it's like, this building has existed since 1420. What do you want? Like, what do you want?
They didn't build it with a fridge in mind.
They didn't even know what electricity was, Karen. They didn't have fridges.
God. Of course they're Karen. So here's the first question I have about these improvement shows. Is these shows come with tons and tons of tips? Like really well put together people give you tips.
Yeah, they do.
Take these tips? Do you write them down? Do you remember them? Or do you tell your friends who are also, this is my experience, in the same living position as you, so they can't buy a house either, but do you tell them these tips anyways?
Well, I've never had anybody ask me. But it's also things
that's awfully
like,
kind of you.
It's nice to see like what design trends are in or out. And I would say that there are definitely like, I mean, of course right now I can't think of any, but I've definitely been watching shows before and they've been like, always make sure you X before you Y. And you're like, yes, oh, makes sense. So obviously, like if I was, there have been times where my mom has like written things down because they've said stuff
right.
like, but it's also hard because it's whatever they're doing or teaching you is always specific to the renovation they're working on, which is not necessarily the same as yours. But there are certain things like they emphasize, research and all that. And like Brian Baumler is like, if you're really bad at being handy, he's like, don't do it yourself. Hire somebody. Just hire somebody.
I know.
So,
that's how I want to live my life.
Right? That to me is like established wealth.
Absolutely.
I don't need to DIY. I can hire somebody else. So.
Well, it's not just wealth. I mean, if you can like seduce the carpenter, like that's also useful. You do the 6-month trial marriage. And meanwhile, they build everything for you. And there you go. Problem solved.
See, that's kind of what you're doing with your partner.
You know it. She's taught me how to do a few things, but...
Except it's been like, what, like a 4-year trial now?
We think it's 5. We're not 100% sure, but it should be 5. So the closest thing I watched to this, though, is I watched a few, like the first 2 seasons, or at least the first season of Queer Eye when it came out again, because I think it like re-came out. And one of the guys is Canadian now, whatever. He's Canadian now, he wasn't before. And that like has some house decor things. And has some personal...
That's also reality TV, though. That's a makeover show, which was also going to be another category I was going to bring up.
Oh, is that another category? I was lumping it in here.
Well, kind of.
Okay.
Because okay, so there's shows like Queer Eye. There used to be a show on TLC called What Not to Wear. That is, rest in peace, What Not to Wear. That show needs to come back. Where basically people would... nominate someone that they knew that was just really bad at dressing, and they would get kidnapped by Stacey and Clinton, and they would go to New York City for a week, and they would learn how to shop for themselves within a set of rules for like sort of how to just be presentable. And I know everyone's gonna be like, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Well, I do, Karen, I do, because the fact of the matter is, what you put on your outside, and I'm not saying you have to be beautiful or you have to be skinny or voluptuous, but the clothing that you put on your outside is a signal. It's a sign of something. Whether or not it is something you're trying to hide or something you're trying to amplify, it signals, right? Like they say dress for the job you want. Well, that's true. If you dress up, like... as opposed to wearing pajamas, people will treat you differently.
Yeah, so, but here's
this show taught harder to teach people that lesson, and then also gave them good haircuts and taught them how to do makeup.
Yes, so what I did is what my feeling of that kind of changed, because I loved watching Queer Eye, because I was just like, wow, this is fun, and I also I like the fact that it promotes inclusivity and what's the word? Exposure? No, that's not the right word. But like
self-confidence. Queer Eye is really big about like building that person up.
Oh yeah, I meant more in the sense that it was just good to have more, queer people on television.
Oh, absolutely.
Like for representation. That's the word. But also like dealing with straight guy syndrome, you know, for a lot of, because a lot of the, as far as I remember, a lot of the people who come on were straight, but I could be wrong. The ones I remember were straight, and because that was the original name, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. But then they started anyways. And like, I get straight man syndrome sometimes. Like, I've met so many of these guys, and fuck, I used to be one of those guys. not that I'm not straight, but like, you know, when you're younger and you have no confidence and you're just mopey about it and you don't know what to do about it. I watch these, you watch it and you're like, oh yeah, come out of your shell, Greg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's all nice, but then you, with a quick type and a Google away, you can see how many of those guys stuck with it or not. Because
really?
Well, yeah, because like now one of the things that they do is like, you got to put these pictures up. You got to like the guys are gonna like advertise the show a little bit and advertise themselves, and then I'm sure someone blabs to the media or whatever, and so it'll be like 6 months down the line, Greg went back to wearing muumuus all the time. Like, I don't know, and it's and it's like, oh. So those feel-goods aren't real, and now I feel weird, you know?
Well, not necessarily, because you shouldn't feel bad that that person didn't keep it up. They just didn't keep it up. That's on them.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know. I'm not feeling bad. I don't look at Moo Moo Greg and I'm like, oh, that's my
Moo
fault.
Moo Greg.
But I feel a little hollow, you know? Like...
Yeah, because you wanted him to do well. It's the same feeling I get when I watch Intervention, and I'm like, it'll be like, Courtney spent 97 days in rehab. And I'm like, yes, Courtney, yes. She left a week early. And I'm like, yes, Courtney, yes. And then it's like, against the advice of her sponsors, she relapsed. We have not heard from Courtney since December 2011. And I'm like, oh, Courtney, you were doing so well. So I get that. Like, you do really kind of root for these people, and then when they don't keep it up, you're disappointed.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can get emotionally like, maybe that's what it is for me sometimes, is like, for me to get emotionally invested in characters that I feel like aren't true to life because they're, you know, it's reality TV, and the fact that they can let me down. Okay, so I feel a lot, okay? That's what it is. I watch these and I get hooked so quickly to these characters that I'm just like, Tammy, you gotta stop eating tampons! Your husband's gonna leave you! And like, I'm just, and my brain, is having a bad time. The like, right brain, I think that's the emotional side, is just like, oh my God, this means so much to me. Tammy, you gotta leave your husband and you gotta stop eating tampons. And the other side of my brain is like, you know, this isn't real, right? Like, they're really just riling you up.
Some of them are real. Like, Intervention is real.
Yeah, it's real in quotation marks. Like, I get it.
They are very... I mean, it's probably a little bit more difficult now, but when it first started, they would convince the participant that they were just filming a documentary about addiction. They didn't know
that's fucked up.
The whole thing is that they didn't know that the intervention was coming at the very end. And that's still kind of like what they do. And it's to the point where, like, the producers of the show that walk around with the cameraman and the actual addict, their identities are never revealed because they don't want addicts to know who is producers for Intervention. In case someone approaches you, the heroin addict, and asks you to be on a documentary, you're not immediately like, you're Patty from Intervention.
So it's kind of like a weird Chris Hansen effect, which is weird. And then two, that's fucked up. You don't want to start a sentence with like, I don't want addicts to know who I am. Like, that's... Ugh.
Well, they know their name. So, it's more just like they don't want the general public to know who they are.
Okay, so like, yeah, I guess. But, all right, I figure you don't want to be on Intervention. So I feel like we could skip that one.
Okay, well, I wouldn't want to be on intervention because that would be really sad, but I wouldn't say no to being on intervention like as a family member. And there is an Intervention Canada, and one of them it happened in Ottawa, so you can go and watch that episode on YouTube.
I'll probably pass on that, but I will ask. What if your friends put you in one of those makeover shows, you know, where they said like, you know who needs a makeover? Hilary.
I would be offended. I would be
right?
super
Wouldn't
offended.
you? I would be
so
super
mad. Offended, and I wouldn't mind going on the makeover show because like I dig that kind of stuff. But there are certain like so what not to wear makes you throw out all your clothes, and that I wouldn't do. Because I have some clothes that I really like, but I'm also very fashionable, so I would never be on what not to wear.
Spoken like a true person on what not to wear.
No, they would be like, "Oh, why are you nominating Hilary? She dresses well. Good night." There's also
and then the
another
episode
show.
ends.
Good night. There's also possibly a more mean show that used to be on called Style by Jury. And basically it would have the person come in and talk to like the host of the show, and there would be a is it called a two-way mirror where like one side can see through it? Okay. So, and there's like there's a jury behind the mirror, and they judge you based on your appearance. And then at the end of that, at the end of that little interview, you, the participant, watch it back, hear all the horrible things that people have said to you, and then you spend the next week fixing those horrible things. And Style by Jury goes so far as like, if you have fucked up teeth, they'll get you veneers. They'll fix your smile. They will give you a chemical peel to get rid of your rosacea. They'll do all of that. They give you haircuts. They help you dress. And then at the end of the week, you go back into a new jury. But the thing is, they don't tell you that it's a different group of people. And I would be like, I would want it to be the same group of people because I'd want to be like, see how I changed, bitch. But they have a new group of people and a family member or a loved one of the participant who's like, oh my God, I've never seen my mom look so beautiful. And she's smiling. She fixed her teeth and quit smoking. So it's like a little bit mean because the people that are the jury will say things like, yeah, like she looks like she should just be like panhandling on the corner. I wouldn't even give her the time of day. And it's like, having to hear someone say that about yourself is really terrible. There's also ones where I've seen where they make you like stand in a box. People just walk by on the street and they're like, wow, what is that outfit? So
what the fuck?
Yeah, I feel like some of the makeover shows are especially savage because it's your physical appearance, which people can be very torn up about, understandably, right? Like if I'm like, hey, fucko, you're ugly, like that hurts.
So you're telling me that makeover shows are made by the same two guys on cocaine, except for they flip to a new list, which is like, hey, you know those things that society does to each other that is like incredibly cruel and inhuman that we've decided not to do? Let's just do them anyways.
Hey, you know the like aspects of people's physical appearance that you're never supposed to talk about? Let's talk about them. Why are your boobs saggy, Brenda? Like, just.
Hi, Brenda. I'm a
super
16-year-old boy, and the only boobs I've ever seen is in pornography. Could you please tell me why it doesn't match up to my weird fantasy that's not real?
Why is one bigger than the other? Oh, that's what real boobs look like.
So here's the thing. I would definitely go on. Like, I'd be offended if someone chose me for, like, a makeover show. Because,
absolutely.
But,
especially
like,
if you thought you had style.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I have crazy style. But, I look good and I know how to make myself look good. I don't think I have a style. Like, I don't wear sunglasses with lightning bolts on them. And, like, I don't know. Like, they don't watch me walk by and it's like, oh, there's Arja. They call him Thunder Turkish Man because he's always wearing lightning bolts. Like, that'd be cool, but not where I'm at. But here's the thing. If I was on the show, I would make it happen. You know? Like, I would absolutely make up some shit. Because this is a running theme I'm sure you've picked up on. But I'm going to make up some shit about what I want my style to be. And I'll be like, yeah, you know, I was just hoping something that could, like, show the real me. You see, 2 years ago, my father and I were out fishing. I love fishing. I'm all about fishing. And he was hit by a bolt.
Trump.
I don't mean to. I'm going to change it just in case. And he got hit by a bolt of lightning. And now I love lightning because my father was a piece of shit. So I would like a lightning fishing themed makeover, please. And I'd like to see what they could do with it.
No, they wouldn't. They'd be like, that is incorrect. We're going to teach you how to dress for your body shape in colors that you like. Oh, we found a sweater that looks good on you that also has a lightning bolt on it. That's all you get.
But there you go. There you go. I'm already happy. That's already the first step.
That's what they do. They would literally, like, okay, if they were like, Hillary, you have to be on a show. I'd be like, okay, I like wearing black and denim. And they'd be like, great. We're only going to show you black and denim. Oh, but also we think that you should wear hot pink sometimes. So here it is with some black and denim. And I'd be like, oh, I guess. Like, they have their rules that they want to enforce, but they also listen to you as a person, right? And like the show gives you like $1,000 to go, like What Not to Wear gives you $1,000 to go shopping. So they obviously want you to buy things that you think that you're going to wear.
Maybe it's just me as an adult, but $1,000 to go shopping is not that much.
No, it's not, eh? I'm like, well, that's like 3 suits and like maybe a couple pairs of jeans.
Yeah, it's not good.
And a pair
All right,
of
we got time for one more genre real fast if you have one. If not, I have another thing, but
well, there's kind of like a weird hodgepodge of, like, I would call it the National Geographic genre, mostly because of the television channel. And that consists of shows like Highway Through Hell, which follows a tow truck company on some of the worst highways in British Columbia that have a lot of accidents and things, and just like life as a tow truck hauler, like, anyway, just life out there doing that. Then there's also like border security.
Hold on. On that one, because I have seen that one, because there was a pizza joint that's not far from here that when it was real cold and I was real hungry, I'd say, fuck it, I'm getting a slice. And I'd go there and I'd be standing, waiting, trying to warm up, and it'd be too hot in the pizza place, and I'd turn and I'd look, and they had that stupid fucking show playing. So I Highway to Hell, or whatever it is, that's stupid, and I don't like it. I don't want to see
Oh, you don't?
people.
I like it. It's really interesting, because sometimes, like, they'll try and, like, have to right side up a tractor trailer, and, like, they have to rig it up a certain way, and if they don't, then their truck's going to flip over. It can be very dramatic sometimes.
Sometimes. So when it comes to things that are based to make me excited about the danger of something, I never believe those, because I'm just like, and yeah, I'm kind of a downer feeling about reality TV.
You're just cynical about him.
I am cynical, but like, I just imagine every time that the guy goes up there and they're like, all right, Tom, could you tell us what's really dangerous about taking this guy's car away from him even though he paid the ticket? And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, like, nothing
it's not
really.
That. No, it's not like repo. It's like, oh, I was driving my transport trailer filled with propane, and I went flying off the Coquihalla Highway, and I'm stuck in a ditch. But if the propane hits the gasoline trail, it's all going to explode. And now we have to right-side the trailer without disrupting any of the cargo. Like, it's like serious wrecks.
Okay,
it's
but
not
like why?
It's not repo. Although there is a show called Repo where they do Operation Repo, where they used to go and repossess assets, and that was also very spicy. Same with like Dog the Bounty Hunter was different, but
fuck those. Fuck all of those. Anything
there's also
where
one that follows like meter maids.
Mm-hmm.
And how horrible people are to meter maids.
Which they I'm going to tell you right now. You should be horrible to every meter maid, every police officer, every bylaw that comes by and tries to give you a fucking ticket. Fuck those people. Fuck everything they do.
You're an anarchist, so you would say.
Yeah, but it's not even just that. I had a coworker tell me that they worked for like what is it? Not a loan shark. See, that's what comes to my mind. What is it? Like a debt collector, basically. And she would call people to remind them that like her company owns them. And I didn't say anything because that's an aggressive thing to say, but fuck that. Those people are the worst people on the planet. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
no,
Absolutely.
I would be seething watching a fucking meter maid show. I don't know if you saw this. There was a police officer in the States recently. She was upset that she didn't get free donuts anymore or something because people are getting mean to cops, and she cried on like her Instagram. I don't know. I'm getting, that's what I kind of got from it, and I had no sympathy.
No, but you hate cops.
Yeah, well, someone has to.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. On the topic of reality TV shows as well, though, like Cops and Live PD have been canceled. There was
Have
one
they?
that I used to watch all the time, not Cops or Live PD. I used to watch one on MTV called Campus PD that was like not as bad as those, but almost yet worse because it was just college kids that were underage and drunk. And they would just get themselves into stupid shit, and it was usually like campus security police officers. I guess colleges in the States have like actual campus police forces, or something, which we don't have here. We just have like LOL mall cops, but it's for university. And they just these kids would just get into like such fucking stupid situations because you're in first year university and or college and you're far away from your family, so you're going to drink like 6-4 Locos and sit in the middle of the street and cry, so of course you're going to get arrested. So
Yeah.
but I'm happy that those shows have all been canceled. But there's another type of show that falls under that umbrella called border security that follows various border security agencies in numerous countries, just admitting people into the country or mail. And that is hella spicy because there's Border Security Colombia. Basically, if you ever go to Colombia, don't buy anything. There's cocaine in it. There's cocaine in it somewhere. This one lady was like, she bought a suitcase because she was over on her bags. Like, she ran out of space. And they were like, where'd you buy this? She was like, oh, just from a street vendor. And they were like, yeah, there's cocaine in the lining.
That's good. I mean, I guess you get a little more bang for your buck that way.
And some jail time.
All the best things. On that note, we should make a demand of our listeners.
Oh, that's true.
I don't want it to be
watch
just
Vanderpump Rules and report back to me.
I didn't want that to be. What I'm going to suggest is that everyone should start their own reality TV show. There has to be a middle point between your idea and my idea. Something.
Everyone go and find a reality TV show that you can get into.
That's fair.
That catharts you.
Yeah, you got
TV. You got
a little more of a pandemic to get through. Might as well invest in something.
Right? It's fun to watch people living a life that they lived 6 months ago because we're all stuck inside now.
Well, that's just sad. All right, we'll see you all next time.
Sorry. Bye.
"10 years ago, my father found me in the woods and whispered in my ear that you could listen to Charming Extroverts at charmingextroverts.podbean.com, or you could check us out on YouTube. He never talked to me again after.